Happy Monday, everybody. This is Doug Thompson from Fixed Performance Incorporated with today's conference call. Our subject for today is online scheduling, using the benefits of technology to build customer retention. As a consulting firm, we are exposed to a number of different types and vendors and value-added situations regarding online scheduling services. Our focus today will be more on the value of this technology that can add to your client base and also to your bottom line. We encourage your interactions and value your opinions very much. Anytime that you have a question or a comment, please use your touchtone phone and press the number 1, and that will raise your hand, and the moderator will patch you in so that you can share whatever either question or comment that you might have. Thanks for joining us today. Everybody that joins in here, hopefully you will find some benefit in today's conversation. Again, we're going to start with online scheduling, why it's important. I believe that everybody probably has a cell phone of some sort at this point in their life. And in the smartphone market, there's been a 45% growth year over year from 2011 to 2012. And in the third quarter of 2012, over 400 million smartphones were shipped by vendors worldwide. That's a pretty big leap and a jump into technology, and as people become more accustomed to using these types of devices and tablets and so on, they're going to realize the convenience and the intuitive nature of these different products and use them more and more frequently to take care of their daily tasks. From the dealership standpoint, using a good online scheduling tool has a number of different benefits. Number one, it has a tendency to reduce incoming phone calls. And if you're standing at the service reception lane on a Monday morning and you have 200 phone calls coming in about a 3-hour period, it gets a little bit hairy sometimes. Using an online scheduling tool can reduce or potentially even eliminate the vast majority of those calls so that the service advisors can focus on the face-to-face activities they have with the people that are directly in front of them. Convenience for the customers, you can schedule 24/7, 365 days a year, just like anything else on the Internet. So that's a great thing. Many of the schedulers have other added benefits, things like embedded service menus, pricing of different services are there and provide information for the customers. It's a great tool to collect email addresses and also a great tool to help you do a little bit of segmented marketing to the people that are a little bit more tech savvy than those that are not. Obviously, the best way to communicate with our customers and our guests is always face-to-face, but in lieu of that, we have to be able to competently use technology forums that are provided for us, and the better we can utilize those, the better off we'll be in the long run. Any questions so far? Okay, great. We have 2 basic types of online scheduling services. One is a request-based email scheduling service, which is what comes in most packages when you buy a website for your dealership. It's kind of a standard boilerplate thing where they may or may not even have a date to choose from, and it sends an email notification to somebody in the dealership, either the service advisors or the service managers or possibly an appointment coordinator. And many of them will have an autoresponder that says, thank you for submitting your request, but then it still relies on somebody in the dealership to answer it and confirm that and actually schedule them into the system. And in many cases, if somebody drops the ball, then the customer may think that they have an appointment scheduled for 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning when in fact nobody's ever actually added them to the system. And when the customer shows up, there's an issue. So while they're there in your base package of your website, and it's better than not having anything, it certainly isn't as good as the other type of online scheduling service, which is a real-time scheduling service, which will integrate directly with your DMS system. And we have basically in the market today, there's 3 big players, and we have an honored guest that will join us today from one of the big 3. Some of the advantages to these systems are that they fully integrate with most of the major DMS systems, so that when a customer is online trying to schedule their service, they can actually click on Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock and know that they really have an appointment for Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock. And it flows seamlessly into the DMS system, and it's just a perfect way to do it. And again, they can do it around the clock anytime they want. A lot of these have a lot of the vendors for the real-time online scheduling services offer some other value-added features, which include things like embedded menus, marketing programs, checking repair status, automated customer notifications, route sheets. Really, it's just an opportunity to use a wide variety of fantastic tools to help your customers schedule appointments and stay in contact with them. And will also help you load your shop correctly with the right type of work to the right person and keep the shop flow going much better. At this time, I'd like to, we have a special honored guest with us from one of the major companies that provides real-time, fully integrated online scheduling. The gentleman's name is Roger Smith, and he represents a company called Auto eForms, which produces ShopWatch, one of the top players in the online scheduling market. Roger, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Great. You have, tell us just a quick little bit about your thoughts. Obviously, you being a provider of great online scheduling service tools, give us your insights.
Well, I agree with you. I think it's critical, and in this day and age, anybody that's not offering it really isn't being keeping up with the technology and being as responsive to their customers as they could be. And I think customers are increasingly expecting to be able to do business on websites and take care of transactions. And I know personally when I need to schedule something, it's typically when my wife and I are at home, the kids are in bed, and it's Sunday night at 11 o'clock. And that's when I can coordinate with her what's going on the next day or the next few days and be able to get the car in for service. So those are the times of days when online scheduling is important. Now,
yeah, I think that our society is moving more and more towards that type of scenario where everybody, the value of their time is a paramount thing for them.
Absolutely. And also what happens is if you just have a request-based system, what ends up happening is I make that appointment request, and the typical website will say, what's your first preferred time? And you say tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and then what's your second time? And you say, well, tomorrow morning at 8:30. And so that gets sent to the service department, whoever's on the list. It might be the service manager or one of the writers. Well, they may not even open up that email until 8:30 or 9 o'clock and look and see that the customer wanted to make an appointment for 8 or 8:30. And at that point in time, they'll typically call them on the phone and say, hey, we can't get you in then, we can get you in tomorrow. So at that point, the customer, you've just told them, don't ever bother going to our website again, just call us on the phone from now on. So the appointment requests are very, very basic, and I think by offering a real-time web appointment, you really cater to the customer and give them the sense of understanding that they've locked in that appointment and they can just show up and the whole thing is all set up for them. Now, being able to get a email confirmation and a reminder will also clinch the deal. So if I make that web appointment, as soon as I hit enter, I'm expecting an email to come into my inbox that says, thank you, you have a confirmed appointment, to really lock things down and let them know that we're expecting to see them.
That's awesome. Roger, your program offers something else that is really, really conducive to great customer touchy-feely type of thing with the display boards that you offer. which is a value-added segment like I referred to earlier. You have boards, display boards that show arrivals and departures. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. And Doug, it's all really about communication for us, and we believe that keeping the customer in the loop on what's going on at every stage of the process, from the web appointment to their experience when they show up, to if they're waiting in the lounge to be able to see the real-time status of their vehicle, really helps the process and gets customers in the loop on communication.
That's awesome.
So that's been a pretty popular component. But going back to the web appointments, being able to take that appointment and make sure that you have waiting time slots available or drop-off time slots, and it's going to drop right into your schedule so that you know what to expect. And it's also taking into consideration shop loading, so that even though there might be appointment times available, if there's no hours left available because you had a lot of big jobs come in, then you'd want a system that's going to limit the amount of jobs that it'll take in. So getting shop loading and web appointments together is an important component. And it's going to save the guys time at the desk for a couple reasons. I'm going to have a pre-written repair order when the customer shows up, so that the customer has essentially written their repair order in advance. When they show up, all I have to do is open it. And I'm going to have extra time from the phones not ringing to be able to spend better communicating with my technicians, and maybe even being out in the drive and upsell a customer and spend some time building a rapport with them. So that's a critical component. And then you get other little benefits like collecting email addresses of the clients. And that's really important to be able to market to these customers for no charge. So collection of email addresses is really critical. And that's something that everybody ought to incorporate into their write-up process and when a customer calls in to make an appointment, to be able to say, and can I get your email address to confirm your appointment? A lot of advisors will say things like, can I get your email address and we'll sign you up for our coupons and specials. And although that might be appealing to some people, to a lot of people that translates into just being spammed. Right. But if you can give them a benefit, and also I can use your email address for you to check the online status of your vehicle as well, or be able to notify you if you need additional work or if there's delays or things like that. So getting the email address is a pretty critical component, I feel.
I would agree with that. And I think everybody out there that has seen the benefits of email over the last several years would greatly agree that marketing email is tremendous and also safe. At this time, I would like to open it up to anybody that has a question or a comment. If you would, just let us know. Press 1, and we'll open the mic to you and try to answer your questions or listen to your comments. Well, it doesn't sound like we have anybody right now that has any questions, but again, in summary, I think the best way for us to address our guests in the dealership is always face-to-face, having a great level of trust and credibility delivered by a highly trained service consultant. However, when that's not possible, like the example that Roger gave us, when a married couple sitting there at 10 o'clock on Sunday night trying to figure out what they're going to do with the rest of the week, we have to provide them with a good alternative source of the best way. And when the face-to-face is not possible, we need to make sure we make it comfortable, trustworthy, and a great experience for them so that we can continue to grow our business in the future. Thank you very much for taking part. Yes.
I got a question. I'm going to open it up to Rob real quick.
Oh, great.
Not so much even a question, but a comment. Roger, would you spend a little time, please, on the route sheet function of your program? I just love that.
Oh, sure. Well, really in order to be able to have anybody in the dealership, whether it be your in-house BDC or if you outsource that functionality, to be able to have anybody be able to communicate with the customer, it's important to have a route sheet to track what's going on. And that's kind of the core of our system in ShopWatch to be able to do that. But regardless of what system that you use, having a route sheet where you're keeping track of the jobs eliminates it from just being the one technician talking to the one service advisor to know what's going on. The parts department can now look at it. They can see when a part was ordered and then a time and date stamp of when the part came in, so everybody's in the loop. We'll know what part's on order, when it's expected to be here. A BDC representative can pick up the phone while the advisor's at lunch and talk intelligently to the customer instead of saying something like, hey, Bob's at lunch right now. Let me have him call you back when he gets here, or I can't find him right now while I've put the customer on hold. So being able to provide the customer with immediate information as to what's going on, I think, is just critical. And that doesn't go for just for customers either. The used car manager likes to know what's going on, and how many times does he call the service desk only to find that the advisor is in the shop and he has to call him back, or the new car manager, or the salesman on a delivery. All of these things generate internal phone calls to the advisor, and by the end of the day, when you add up every single phone call, whether it's from parts or the tech or the new car manager, used car, the salesman, the detailers, all of these things are things that could be eliminated by keeping a route sheet up to date and tracking what's going on there. So I think route sheets are really, really critical.
That is an awesome function in your tool. It has. I know that in the dealerships that I've seen it utilized, it is a very, very, very efficient way to keep all the progress and the statuses up to date and have everybody in the loop. Anybody that has a log on or a computer terminal can get those questions answered, with just a few mouse clicks, which is really, really good.
Yeah, most CSI situations, Doug, in my experience, and I've got a long background. Actually, very little of my background in the software business. Most of it's as a service director for a dealer group, and my experience has been that the vast majority of CSI issues all stem around poor communications with the customer and internally poor communications. So that's really been my focus, to try to develop solutions that focus on better communication to create for a better customer experience.
Agreed. I think that everybody that's done this for more than a couple days would agree that 99% of our problems are self-inflicted, and it's always communication. And anytime that we can improve those, that's a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions or comments from anybody out there? Well, if not, then I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. And special thanks to Roger Smith from Auto eForms and ShopWatch for joining us. Great tool, and hopefully you found some benefit in today's call. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.